How long should content be for niche sites? I'm going live on Facebook and on YouTube, so hopefully things are going to go okay. I didn't make it on yesterday because I actually got fiber. I'm going to set this camera up a little bit better. We got fiber to the house, so my streaming capabilities should be much better. So sorry I missed you all yesterday, but hopefully I'll be able to make it up with the higher quality. So hopefully I can stream from two devices. I even have an Ethernet cable hooked up to my computer, so it's like no wireless on my machine at least. So we're live on YouTube over here, Facebook over here. Today we're going to be talking about how long content should be for niche sites. Hopefully it'll be, kind of a quick one. I need to go to the gym here shortly. I see a couple people over on the YouTube side. Hopefully people will be joining on Facebook also. If you're joining, let me know where you're from. Also, let me know if you could hear me. It's always a mystery if people can hear me or not. In fact, I'll even type it in here. And let me know where you're from. In fact, even if you are watching the replay or you're watching this sometime later, let me know, where you're from. I'm always curious where people are coming in from. So we're going to talk about how long content should be for niche sites. And you know what? I'll get right into it as people are hopefully letting me know that they can hear me. So back when I started, there was kind of the conception. And Al Amin, thank you. You could hear from Bangladesh. Awesome. Good to have you on. Thank you for joining. And basically, when I started with niche sites, content was a little different back then. A lot of people were pushing out content in about 500 words per post or so. And right as I was coming up, people were starting to publish longer content up to like 2,000 words. We felt like that was really long. And I see someone's from Bangladesh over on the YouTube side. Thank you for joining up. Appreciate it. And that means you could hear me also, so that's good. So we went from about 500 words or so to, up to about 2,000 or 2,500, and it felt really long at that point. Then it kept going higher and higher. Now, more recently, if you look at the SERPs and you look at big affiliate websites like the Wirecutter or like Baby Gear Lab or Outdoor Gear Lab, you'll see some of their content is up to like 10,000 words or even longer, depending on what the product is and how many products they review. If you look at something like Outdoor Gear Lab, they have super long posts for sort of like ultimate guide type posts. Then they'll also have like long reviews for each one of the products that they talk about. So really it varies, and I'll just get right to it, to the answer of the question when people ask me, like in my course in 5-Figure Niche Site. So most of the time, if I'm trying to rank for a keyword that has like a pretty high search volume, and we'll just call it like over 1,000 searches per month on up to 10,000 searches per month. I don't go much beyond that, but in that range between 1,000 to 10,000, I'll normally have content that is at a minimum 2,500 words long, at a maximum like over 12,000 words. And a lot of people argue that, hey, no one's going to read that much content, blah, blah, blah. But some people do read that content because if they're really curious about a particular item, then they will read everything that they can about like selecting it. And if it's well written, people will read it. So just because, and I'll digress for a second, someone in one of the webinars that I've done in the past, they said, oh, you know what, I would never read something that long. and they just discounted the idea automatically just because it's something they wouldn't do. But it turns out everyone's a little bit different, and some people like to read and research all that, I guess, information on websites, right? I know when I was looking at niche sites, for example, I read like everything I can get my hands on, even if it was a super long post or a series of posts. So the point is, just because you don't read long content doesn't mean other people don't. And the thing is, when you publish long content, you'll find that you often rank for more keywords, like long tail keywords. So I know we have a few people in on the YouTube side and on the Facebook side. Like, how long do you write your content? Is there something you aim for? I know we have some people on that actually are, affiliate marketers. So I'm curious how long your content is. Again, if you're watching the replay, you could let me know in the comments. I'll answer them later. I'll check them out and make sure that I take a look there. So there's another set of content that I also write, and that's keyword golden ratio content. If you're not familiar with the keyword golden ratio, it's a way to find content that really no one else is trying to rank for. They're harder to find, it takes some manual effort, but you end up with keywords that normally you could rank in the top 15 without any links within about a day. Now, I've tested it on multiple sites. A lot of readers have actually tested it, published content on their sites, and then they've sent me the results. So it doesn't just work for my site, it works for other people's sites, even brand new sites. So with keyword golden ratio content, I usually aim for about 800 to 1,000 words or so, and then if it's working out well and the content's getting traffic, if the post is getting traffic, I may add to it later. But I usually just start in the 850 to 1,000 range. So the thing is, to summarize here, I aim for about 2,500 words or more. There's really no upper limit for more competitive, higher search volume keywords. Then for KGR content, I'll usually just aim for about 800 to 1,000 words or so. So any questions out there, I can definitely take questions. Hopefully it is about content, or hopefully it's going to be about content, and we'll just hold it up again here in case people are passing by, seeing this fly by. So I saw a question here. Patricia Murphy says, good writing is key. Yeah, for sure. If you're in writing in an engaging way, people will be way more likely. Thanks, Patricia. That's a really good point. And people connect to the story, right? Anyone can go to a website that has some random reviews. There's no personal connection. But if you have something interesting to say, if you have a story that you're telling, it'll be way more engaging for the reader, and then people will read it more. I do see some more folks are over there on the Facebook side. And then Liz asks, what ratio would you suggest for reviews to info content? Typically I aim for about 50-50 if I could just have the site laid out that way. Sometimes, you end up with a little bit more affiliate content or more informational, depending on what kind of keyword research you were sort of drawn to. But if you had to pick, I would probably aim for a little or right in the middle, 50-50, or maybe a little bit more informational content. And that's just my personal preference. To get accepted by the Amazon affiliate program, I usually recommend 50-50. That way you're showing that you're not just an affiliate site, you also have helpful content. Palak says, or Palak, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, says, I'm publishing between 3,000 to 5,000 words these days using the KGR method. It's for a brand new site, and the results are surprising though. Some of them are in the top 50 within a day, some are bouncing like crazy. you haven't done any links. So that's cool. That's good to know. For the KGR, are these like strict KGR where the search volume is about 250 or less? Just making sure. And then it could be, a brand new site will have some more irregularity, but if you let that stuff sit, if you let those posts sit within 6 months, like things are going to start moving up even if you don't do anything. It's really cool, but if you stick with it for the 6 months and you keep publishing, like you're going to see some serious traction. Dimitri asks, do 800 to 1,000 word articles work for new sites, or should I have some pillar content, then build these articles around it, like silos? Do they work for new sites? Yes, they do. However, I haven't tested it in the last like few months, so as things change, perhaps longer form content could do better. I know longer form just typically will attract more long tail keywords and traffic. Should you have some pillar content and then build the articles around it? Sure, that's a fine way to do it. I think you don't necessarily have to have a pure silo structure, but if you have interlinking, that's a very good thing, Dimitri. That's a good question. So, but to get to the root of it, if I was you, I would just aim for 800 to 1,000 words, and like leave it at that, and then come back to it in the future, and you can add more to it later. Good question, though. Any other questions out there? Let me check on the YouTube side. It is a little difficult to manage, two things at once here. And let's see. Oh, I see Graham says, Doug, you're the man. That's cool. Thanks for saying that, Graham. All right. Any other questions? And if not, we can keep this one a little bit shorter, and then I could go to the gym. So, cool. All right. And then if people like just popped in, we are looking at how long content should be. So I'll just mention one more time. For KGR content, roughly 800 to 1,000 words. For more competitive, higher search volume keywords, like 1,000 to 10,000 plus searches per month, I would aim for at least 2,500 words on up. For a few posts, like super competitive and or posts that have a lot of information to cover, I would say you can go to 12,000 or more. So that's it for today. As I mentioned, hopefully I'll be back tomorrow and hopefully even on Friday, so I can keep doing some of these live videos. If you have any suggestions, especially as we're finishing up, suggestions for future like live streams, let me know in the comments. I can cover it over the next couple days. I don't have a schedule. I should come up and brainstorm things to cover each day, but it's great to hear what people want to learn about over the next few days. So cool. Oh, and I see Adrian asks, if the main page is a static one, how many thousand words should it have? Okay, so I don't, I'm assuming you're doing like a home page style and it's not affiliate content. It's totally up to you. I would say at a minimum, 150 words, but it's totally up to you what you want to describe on your site. And it looks like Facebook dropped for a second, so hopefully I'll answer again, Adrian. So if your main page, and I'm going to make some assumptions. The question is, if your main page is a static one, how many thousand words of content should it have? I'm going to make some assumptions about the question. You say main page, so I'll assume that's the home page, is the root domain. If it's static, how many thousands of words of content should it have? It depends on like what you're trying to do on the home page. Typically, I'm not putting affiliate content. I'm not trying to rank the home page, so I'll just put however much content it needs to have. So for me, usually that's like 100 to 300 words. Like I said, I'm not trying to rank the home page, so I don't care about like the word count or anything like that. If you're trying to write affiliate content and publish it on the home page, which I don't recommend, by the way. But if you're trying to do that, I would say, follow the rules that I mentioned before for 2,500 to 10,000 plus words of content on the homepage. But it all depends on how you're laying out your site. The way I do things, it's not the only way, right? So if you want to have affiliate content on your homepage, go for it. Some people like to do that. I typically don't, though. It's just the style of sites that I'm doing. I don't want to have affiliate content on the homepage. So, Adrian, I hope that answers your questions or your question. If people have other questions, feel free to ask in the comments, both on YouTube and on Facebook. I'll come back later. I'll answer all the questions. So I'm going to head out for now. Thanks for joining up, and see you around next time. Thank you. Boom. And boom.